Welcome to Big Roofs, episode 6, filmed here live at the Roofing Process Conference. We're your hosts, John and AJ. Let's jump into it. John, of all the roofing conferences you've been to, what is the best keynote speaker you've heard? We haven't heard any new ones yet this conference, but in past conferences.
In past conferences, it's going to be Jesse Isler. He was at a regional conference. Ever since that, I followed him in his life and his professional career and what makes him tick. And yeah, Jesse Isler is my favorite so far.
Nice. You know, honestly, I haven't been to that many. I'm trying to think last time we came to the Roofing Process Conference, everyone that spoke. There was one roofer who won the Equipter last year?
Let's see. I don't remember who that is. Jason Hartley.
Jason Hartley. He went up and did a presentation on stage about his business at one point, I believe.
It was probably Eustace Roofing. Jason.
Eustace?
Jason with Eustace Roofing. Yeah, he's actually doing it right now.
Oh, he's doing it again?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm confusing the names, but I did like his presentation. I'm not a huge conference goer, so I have a small pool to pick from. But all right, well, let's jump into it. John, let's talk about why should roofers care about conferences like this? What's the value?
So a lot of people come to these conferences to network and maybe just take a vacation. It's much wiser to come with intent. So kind of the three ways that I look at it is the main room of these conferences or the keynote speakers take notes so that you have a whole list of things that you see that's valuable, and then most of them have some sort of breakout session, and there's hard to choose, but there's usually a lot of those. Pick a breakout session for probably the weaknesses in your business, and then take notes in there as well. And then vendors. Make sure that you're actually being intentional about talking to vendors. It takes time. Listen to vendors. See if there's something in your business that can be helped by one of these vendors here. And then from each three of those categories, the conference, the breakout, and the vendors, try to choose one thing at least that you're actually going to review that night or after the conference. I would recommend doing it at the conference because you have time to do that. And then
so actually implement
it at the conferences if you can, and at least reach out to them, schedule if there's a calendar schedule you're supposed to do. That's what's helped me is there's a lot of people at the Roofing Process Conference. I've been here for multiple years, so I know a lot of these vendors, a lot of these breakout leaders, a lot of the speakers, because they've actually helped me in my business. So it's really, really important to not just get excited and go network and see all your industry friends, but actually do the things that you need to do for your business. I mean, Ben Morrow at Roof Tiger just did a whole rebranding thing, and I'm actually rebranding right now for my business. So that's just one example of execute things that you learn and actually take notes, write it down, and then do the thing you wrote down. That's what conferences are all about. That's really, yes, you can go have fun and network and see your friends, but do the things that will change your life the rest of the year.
Yeah, that was kind of my next question was what breakouts do you plan on attending while you're here, and obviously you're going to go to Ben Morrow's. Is that a keynote?
Well, he just did the keynote. I just watched him.
Okay.
Yeah, I just watched him. Cameron was in there, and too. We were talking about how I felt pretty confident just based on his entire presentation of what we're doing those things. We're doing those things that are different. We don't have. He always makes fun of the Triangle Club where everybody's got a roof on their logo, and everybody's using red, white, and blue, and maybe black. And we're Peach State Roofing has no roof on their logo, and we have a way different color scheme than anyone else in either one of our markets. So that was rewarding I listened to him last year as well, and we implemented that rebrand in the same way. So again, just listen, actually make decisions, and do the things that you learn.
I like that. I think one of my initial reactions when you're saying just implement something, find one thing and implement it is, well, what if I want to implement everything? What if I What if I'm just starting in business? Do you have any advice on that? Are you saying that like it should be one because you're going to do one really well, or are you saying just like at least one thing, find at least one thing to implement?
If there's more than one, create the list. If there's a list of things in a certain category, let's go sales or production or software or maybe tools or something that you can use in your business, write down everything that you find to be valuable, but just pick one thing. The reason I say one is because I get really excited too, and I'll have all these things and I'll just get frozen and won't do anything. So do the first thing that you think is most valuable, and then for each one of those things, prioritize it and then tackle those things throughout the next year.
So have your number one thing that you are going to implement after the conference, after the event, and then have your secondary and your other stuff, which is, if you can get that implemented too, great, but don't do it at the cost of that first thing. Is
Correct.
What you're saying?
Yeah, and follow through and complete that task or that upgrade to your business all the way through before you move to the next thing.
Yeah, I love that. So one of the things I think that when roofers come to a conference like this and they're looking at all these vendors and everyone's smiling at them, I imagine that can be pretty overwhelming. Do you have any advice for roofers when they're going out to talk to vendors during those vendor segments of the conference?
Don't go during the vendor segments. Because we're vendors, with ProLine we're a vendor, so we're going to see a bunch of people all the time, and it's really difficult to have all those meaningful conversations. You can say hey to everybody and give them your card, but that's not really meaningful for your business because you don't really care about the next roofing company's movement in that vendor. That's what I do. It's too overwhelming to walk around that whole thing, and it's super crowded, and you're never going to have really meaningful conversations. So sneak out of a breakout, sneak out of a keynote speaker. If you see something that you think is going to be helpful and beneficial, go outside of those vendor hours. And hopefully there's someone on staff there that can actually help you, but that's going to be really meaningful. If it's quiet in the room and there's very few people there, you're going to have like a real meaningful conversation that can actually really move the needle in your business.
I feel like that's a concept that doesn't apply only to conferences, but really working with vendors in general. If you work with a vendor or you talk to a vendor at a time that less other companies are talking to them, you're going to have better conversations and you're going to get better service no matter what. It's really tough because of the seasonal nature of the roofing industry. For example, for ProLine, we're always slammed in January and February, and we're going to take the absolute best care of every customer we can, but just by the nature of having that number of people that want to upgrade their CRM and overhaul their processes in January and February and leading into March, it's going to be you're not going to get as good of deals, and it's going to be tougher to get that really high level of service that you might get if you're working in November, December, or even after March. So it's kind of on the edge, closer into the regular season. You might still be a little busy, but you're going to get more of that personal attention. And that applies, obviously, like you're saying here as well. If you go during the vendor hours when there's a ton of other people around, the conversations are going to be shorter. It's going to be less kind of direct attention on you. Whereas if you do go during the breakout or a keynote, sneak out, go talk to that vendor that you're interested in, you're going to have that opportunity to have that real one-on-one personal attention that might be the difference in like getting the information you need to be successful.
Yep, it's very true. Just being proactive too. Like when you reach out to any vendor, if you're going to change your CRM to ProLine, you need to be super proactive about the whole process and understand that this is the platform for your business. So not even just the time of year whenever we're busy or not, but like really putting forth your effort as a business owner and not just saying, hey, I'm going to throw money at this potential issue that can help my business, but like understanding that it's more than just a piece of software that kind of helps you figure out who, people's names and addresses, and more than just like an automation tool, but it really is the foundation for you. If you're a one-man show or your entire team, you need to have everybody on board that understands this is a big deal, and the more energy and effort you put in on the front end, the faster and the easier it's going to be to move forward and actually make a really big ROI on that investment and on that time.
Yeah, Yeah, and we can help you to do that more during some periods of the year than others. But regardless of what time of year, yeah, it's something that has to be done very intentionally, and a lot of effort and planning needs to go into it. So, yeah, absolutely. Well, let's wrap things up.
Yeah.
For talking today, and come see us. We're at booth 63 in the vendor area for the Roofing Process Conference. Though I do think this video is probably going to go out after the conference, so I guess don't come see us. But regardless, thanks for joining us today.